my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. I'm excited to be here today because I'm doing a two-part video for my road trip to my home state of Ohio. I know that road trips can be stressful, or I should say not road trips, they can be, but I think they're more fun than stressful. But anyway, I know that trips home can sometimes be stressful trying to visit with family, but mine was amazing. So I did a little stop in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and went to the Mothman Museum and some of the sites in the area that are associated with Mothman sightings. So this video, I wanted to just tell you about my absolutely amazing trip home to Ohio, and part two will have the footage for the TNT site and some of the abandoned or remaining structures from that, the places where the Mothman sightings took place. If it's your first time visiting here, I'm 62 years old. I started my channel when I was 60. Yeah, so I'm pretty much still a new YouTuber and just kind of figuring it out, you know, what might be fun to share, what you might want to hear. My overall focus, and with the name of my channel being Finally Christine, is just kind of getting you, I don't know, maybe encouraging you in some way to do something that you've always wanted to do. So if you want more encouragement to do the things you always wanted to do, or if you want to see part two of this trip to Ohio with a stop off in Point Pleasant, go ahead and subscribe, because that way you'll know when I've uploaded my next video. Now, I haven't taken a road trip to Ohio since I had my stroke in 2020. I've been flying there over the past year because I have a new little great-grandson. So my oldest son, his family, as well as two of my sisters, live in Ohio. Now, I moved away in '87, so I've lived away from Ohio longer than I actually lived there. But I get back as often as I can, and now that my son is grown, you know, he comes here, I go, you know, I'm just not making a regular road trip there. But I was so excited because I took a full week off of work, which meant Monday through Friday, sandwiched in between 2 weekends, right? So I had a total of 9 days to kind of get myself ready to get in the car, to get on the road, to make my way to Point Pleasant and to go do some things there, and just kind of really whatever I wanted to do on that car ride. So I was really looking forward to it. And, you know, even though I had my stroke in 2020, I think I've only talked about my stroke once, but I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I just really hadn't taken those long, you know, a long car ride like one to Ohio. And I was by myself, so that was another thing. I just, you know, I finally felt confident enough to do that. But yeah, it was so exciting. I packed some food in the car so I didn't have to stop, and I just hit the road. Now, the way that I normally go, I don't spend most of my time in West Virginia. I'm really just driving through. But this trip, because I wanted to make it a point to get to Point Pleasant, to go to some sites that I had been to with my kids, oh gosh, 13 or more years ago. You know, I just wanted to allow enough time on the road, and I wanted to go through West Virginia. So, and I will tell you, West Virginia is beautiful country to drive through. But I had so much fun. You know, there was one little town I was driving through, and I saw a Goodwill sign, so I was like, oh, let me stop and pull in to the Goodwill. And I went in. I didn't buy anything because I was saving up for shopping with people in Ohio. But then I was driving down the road, and I actually turned my car around because there was a little place I passed, and the sign out in front of it said junk, and then as I drove a little further past, it said damn good junk. And I thought, oh my word, how can I not pull the car over at a little shop that touts damn good junk, right? So and it was adjacent to like an auto shop, it wasn't a gas station, but a car shop. And so I had to go, when I pulled my car over, I had to go into the bays and say, hey guys, can anyone, let me in so I can look around? So they did. And yeah, it was kind of a fun little break in the drive. So then I got back on the road and had to find gas. I was getting a little nervous because gas stations on my route were few and far between. But I made it in plenty of time, and then I just kept going, and I got into Point Pleasant, and I got to, oh my gosh, the last time that I was there in Point Pleasant, the Mothman Museum was much smaller, and I will tell you, it was so exciting to see that the town was capitalizing on this Mothman story. I don't know if you saw the movie. It was, and I think it was from 2002. It was a movie, and Richard Gere was in it, and it's kind of a creepy, spooky movie. If you haven't seen it and you like that kind of movie, it would be a great Halloween time movie to watch. But anyway, so the last time that I was there with my kids, the town, hadn't yet capitalized on how popular that whole Mothman thing was. And so it was awesome to see it. The museum is lovely. It's, they've moved into a bigger building. They clearly are making more money. There's a couple of gift shops. There are, there was a cute coffee shop that I went to. And it's, what's nice about it is those little places are drawn. There were so many people there. I mean, not a lot. It was a small town in West Virginia, but I was so happy that on a Monday, there were visitors to the town, stopping in all of the little stores, strolling down the little main street and, walking along the waterfront. It's really a cute little town. And yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I did that. I had to backtrack a little bit to go to I think it's called the McClintock Wildlife Management Center, Preserve, or something like that, but it is the old land that a TNT, like explosive, it was a TNT factory during World War II. And so just a brief history of that. There are these igloos there. They call them igloos. I'll put more information in the part 2 video. And other structures there. So that was a big TNT factory or manufacturing site. It's huge. And in the, I don't know, it was in the 70s. Well, anyway, it made the EPA's toxic Superfund site, needed to be cleaned up. I think they do still test it, but they've cleaned it up and it's open now to the public for outdoor activities. I don't know if you can, I think you can hunt there. I don't know if you can fish there because the groundwater might be an issue. I don't know. I don't want to deter you from going because it's kind of a cute little town to go to. With that kitschy little bit of history to it. Anyway, so I went over there to the site where my kids and I had a little spooky experience and went in, for that. And wow, I was surprised how overgrown the little, how do they call them? Bunkers, I guess, not igloos, but how overgrown that little bunker was that I went back to. Okay, well, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do everything there at that TNT site in that one drizzly afternoon. So I said, all right, let me just get on the road and get to Ohio, get to the town that I was heading to. So the first part of the week, I was going to be staying close to my 2 sisters. They live I'm from Cincinnati, and so they live east of Cincinnati, closer to West Virginia, but not that close. It was still going to take me a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours to get there. And so let me just tell you this little thing about my 2 sisters. My 2 sisters are 10 and 15 years older than me. They live about a half an hour from each other, but they haven't spoken to each other since our mother died in 1998. So you know how that goes sometimes with families. It it's just always difficult for me to go to town because I either see one sister or the other sister. And it just, you know, with my son being there and my granddaughters there, I want to spend the time with them, and they don't live near my sisters. So anyway, maybe you get an idea of what a difficult situation that could be. But anyway, so I was going to be spending the first part of the week with them. And so I had a cute little Airbnb that I booked near them. Actually, it's in the old town a little place called Loveland, Ohio, which is where we lived when I was born. And so my sisters live right there, and they don't even get together. But enough of that. On Monday, I got checked into my Airbnb, and on Tuesday, I got together with the younger of my two sisters and her daughter, my niece. And the three of us went thrift store shopping. I got more stuff than I needed, and I'm probably gonna end up donating the stuff or giving it away. Anyway, but I had so much fun spending the afternoon with them. Now, the three of us, my two sisters and I, were gonna be getting together for lunch the next day, on Wednesday. And I just wasn't sure how that was gonna go. And let me just tell you how it went. So my older sister was at the restaurant first when I got there. And I walked in and she goes, oh, how are, you know, we were hugging, talking. And she says, do you recognize this necklace? And she's pointing to a necklace that she has on, and I'm like, no. She goes, well, it was Mom's. I want to see if Patty notices it. And I said, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Let's not do that today. I was shocked that she was even thinking that way, right? Like, no. So that I ordered a drink. I totally ordered a gin and tonic after that little exchange. And then my sister and her daughter came in. And so it was so much fun. It was just the four of us. And I was chatting with my niece who sat across the table from me. And my two sisters were talking, and it seemed to be going really well. So we finished dinner, and then we were kind of walking around in some of the little shops in town. And then we got an ice cream, and my older sister, she didn't want to get together to thrift shop, even separate from my sister. She didn't want to do anything. I get the impression from her that she is very stuck in her schedule, in her routine. And I have to step back from that and not fault her for it. That's her. She lives a very, I don't want to say small life, but she stays to her routine. So, but I wanted to go see this castle that's in this little town that both of my sisters have been to. But we moved away from that town, and so I never went to that castle. And I don't know if where you live there was a place where this man in the late 50s, seems like there was one in Connecticut, they decided to build a castle. I don't know, castles and, you know, that era, but from local stones, etc. And anyway, I wanted to go, and she actually went. I did push a little. I'm like, come on, Linda, you don't need to get home. You know, your husband's fine. Just come on, let's go. And so I got up. I went with the moment. I ran and got my car, and I swung it around, and I picked everybody up, and off we went to the castle, and we had so much fun. And I got a beautiful picture of my two sisters just sitting together. And I don't know that they will talk to each other after this little meeting. I don't know that will happen. And as a matter of fact, I've talked to them since that week, and they haven't spoken to each other. But I guess for me, what I know now is when I come to town, the three of us can get together for lunch or to do something. And we can get over whatever happened back when our mother died. And that's what was so beautiful about my trip, that now when I come to town, you know, I can plan to spend some time with both my sisters because my time is limited. And I don't know if that sounds selfish, but I have to tell you, it made my trip. It really, really, truly did, to know that, you know, after all these years, it's 25 years, for goodness sake, that we're able to be together. And then there was the drive home. But as I said earlier, I did stop on the way home, and I got more footage at Point Pleasant. Oh my gosh. At these structures called acid cradles. You've got to see part 2. If you like any of that kind of, it's not urban exploring, but it's just kind of exploring, I guess you want to, you know, abandoned places. You're going to want to watch part 2. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with this. And I just had to share that about my sisters because it was an amazing, amazing thing. And, you know, put me in a great mood for the rest of my trip. And actually, ever since then, I've had a really different outlook on things. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. And so watch out for part 2. And remember, I want to encourage you to do the things you think you can't do, right? Like I never thought after 25 years that my sisters would get together. But it was baby steps. It's just lunch, a trip to a local touristy place. You know, we didn't go overboard with what we were doing. But it made, oh my gosh, it just made it an amazing summer for me. So anyway, do what you think you can, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.